The Prose Bros Podcast. The Prose Bros Podcast.
The Prose Bros Podcast.
The Prose Bros Podcast.
Prose Bros Podcast.
The Prose Bros Podcast.
Prose Bros.
Prose Bros Podcast.
Spoilers ahead.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Podcast. I'm Eddie.
Yo, I'm Jeff.
And we're here to talk about my favorite movie growing up, RoboCop 2. No, white men can't jump. What? I said white men can't jump. I'm just going to edit that second one out. Jeffrey, are you a fan of White Men Can't Jump?
I like the movie.
I loved this movie. Growing up, I didn't get to see it very often because it wasn't a movie that my mom was okay with. She was okay with RoboCop 2. But not this one.
How come?
Rap music was really popular at the time, and she was kind of into that whole idea of like...
Fear of a Black Planet?
Yeah, exactly. Like, gangster rap is going to ruin American culture and ideas. And I was like, no, Mom, I just want to be hella gangsta. That's what I told her. And she was like, nope, you're going to be a grunge kid.
So that was her doing?
Yeah, I wanted to be all about Snoop Dogg, but I just was way too... upper middle class to do that.
I remember watching this on TV. I remember
Really?
this being on TV a lot.
I think I might have been taken to this in the movie theater, but like after the fact, like at a dollar movie theater.
So this came out in 1992, and I remember being like 14 or 15 the first time I saw it. So
right.
a while after.
I saw it very young. Like, this was the first movie that I got to watch that had Yo Mama jokes in them.
Okay.
And then I said Yo Mama jokes to Jesse Corey, and he beat me up for talking shit about his mom.
Yeah, he was known to fly off the fucking handle.
Yeah, he's our childhood bully. Both of our childhood bullies.
Weird, like friend bully.
Yeah, like he would hang out with you and like ride rollerblades and then beat you up at the end of the day.
You know how like there's that term frenemy? Is there a term for a friend bully?
Yeah. Fruly.
No, I don't like it.
Okay. I like it.
Bullend. No, I don't like that either.
Blend. Oh, man, blend. All right, well, I think this movie is the first mainstream version of a Spike Lee joint, like made for the masses, and I love this movie. As far as cultural reception, I don't think that this movie gets any credit at all. And I think it's definitely kind of misogynistic as hell.
Not kind of, definitely.
Oh, it's definitely misogynistic as hell, and has its problems, but I think that overall the writers of this movie thought they were being very clever and might have been incredibly clever because none of the themes that I see in the movie, and I think that they actually intended to do, were really ever brought up.
So, would you say this is a great movie? Or a good movie?
No.
Or what would you say? How would you
as far
classify
as
this?
like in the canon of great American cinema, it's definitely on the low end. It's not a B movie. I think it's a great movie for its genre and a great period piece for the 90s.
Obviously, it's a social commentary movie.
Yeah.
But it's a sports movie, so there's
like,
a little
it's
leeway.
Like social commentary through Mighty Ducks movie. You know, like it's using basketball to be its way into talking about social
Issues.
I definitely think that this movie has a lot to say about the American experience through basketball and through this team of, an interracial team of basketball players trying to fight their way through poverty.
Is that what they're doing?
I mean, really, it's kind of one of these things. All right, so you take it down and you say like, Billy Howardell, the guy from fucking Perfect Circle. Billy Hoyle and Sidney Means. Means, or is it?
Dean.
Sidney Dean. They are definitely on the lower class of society. Both of them are not middle class by any means. They're living in definite, hand to mouth kind of situation.
Well, it seems like Sydney was way better off, even though he lived in a poor neighborhood.
He's definitely
Billy-
better off, but
Billy's like his living situation was complete shit.
it's rubbish, man. He's essentially, if you live in El Paso, he's staying at the Warren Inn. Like a Warren Inn type place, right? And yeah, Sydney has a better situation in life. However, he has a child, and he seems to be trying to struggle up the class rank a lot more than Billy. Like, definitely Sydney has aspirations to better his class, but he's not very good at it, and he's also trying to pretend he's somebody he's not, maybe, in the sense that he's dealing with all these like white customers and bringing them into the neighborhood, which makes it like hard for him to sell well. You know, he's like, his aspirations are showing him more of where he is because he's dealing with people that have more money.
So, I saw that a little bit differently. I saw that as them both being selfish. So, because their main goal in life is just to play basketball, they don't really care about having any other job. Obviously, Billy doesn't want another job. And Sydney, while he may be good at other things and needs to provide for his family, his real passion is basketball. So that's what he's thinking about constantly. That's what he wants to do. So it's not that he's not really trying to better himself for whatever reason other than he's being selfish.
See, I completely disagree with you because I think Sydney had no other means to make money at this point, and he relies on his skills, which would be basketball, to be able to make money, or at least make extra money outside of what he can't get in the professional world. He has no actual like chances in the professional world, and he's really good at basketball, but he uses that to supplement his income. Whereas Billy, he owes money. He owes $3,000 to the Stucci brothers.
Stucci? Something like that.
I'm gonna call them the Stussy brothers.
Stussy.
Like, remember that shirt, Stussy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Stussy brothers. He owes them $3,000, and that's life or death. Like,
But-
he considers that life or death.
But also, Sydney, it's a game to him. He's gambling. So it's not that, oh, this is how I need to provide for my family, that idea. He's doing it because he likes it, because it's fun, and he likes to showboat.
Well, he likes to showboat, but that's a different thing here and now. He's a good basketball player, and he really likes to actually play the game, but he's really good at the game too, and he can make money that way, and it's an outlet. Like, different people, say you're a musician, decide like, while I have this job, I'm also going to play on the street for tips.
But that's not what they're doing. Do you think that their outlet, both Billy and Sydney, maybe it's not basketball, maybe it's hustling?
Maybe you're right, but at the same time, if you're really good at basketball, besides the NBA, if you don't get accepted into the NBA, what are your outlets to make money using that skill?
True.
Gambling.
But shit, people do things they enjoy all the time without getting paid. Look at what we're doing.
I completely agree with you, but to spend that much time to be that good in it, you'd have to get paid in some facet or form in order to keep doing it.
I don't know, man. We've spent a lot of time doing this. No, I do agree with you, though.
I wouldn't say that we spent as much time as it would to be as good at basketball as they are. I think that it takes way more time to be that good at basketball.
We should stop doing this and
start playing basketball.
Yes.
I mean, that was why I picked this movie. I was like, I really want to get Jeff into jump shots.
Yeah, somebody who's 5'8" and somebody else who has bad knees.
So, in my opinion, it's basically a race for the American dream for Sydney. An unattainable idea that he'll never really get to. And for Billy, he doesn't really have to think about the American dream because he's already white. So the only thing for him is to get out of debt, in the sense that somebody wants to kill him or this debt is looming over him and he just wants to get out of debt. But after that, he has no real aspirations to try to better his class system because he doesn't have to. He's white. And them together is this crazy team that's capable of anything as far as basketball goes, but they're constantly destroying each other in the process.
And you brought up that point. Do you think that was that moment at the end of the movie where Sydney tells Billy, they talk about jobs and if he has any references, and he's like, you? And he's like, you're going to be fine. Do you think that was like, oh,
absolutely.
You're white.
Well, the whole thing
you're going
is
to be fine.
All right, let's go back to the beginning. They have two different ways of playing. Sydney is focused completely on looking good and doing dribble shots that are awesome, while Billy is a three-point shooter that can make the game happen. If you look at all NBA teams, even though I have no knowledge about them, you'll know that like the white players don't ever dunk. They're never stylish. So it's like this whole like metaphor about two different kinds of playing that actually work on the court, right? In NBA teams where you have like a Bill Paxton, I don't know, that was like 20 years ago, right? And Larry Bird, you have these great three-point shooters.
We should have got somebody who knows something about basketball. On this podcast.
But in a sense, it's like together they make the perfect team. And they can do a lot together, but when they fight each other, it brings upon the worst times in both of their lives. You know? And I think that that's a really big metaphor, an obvious metaphor. But a huge thing that I say this has a lot to do with class is when they finally win the trophy, they argue, well, this isn't the trophy, that's a trophy. We want the big trophy. And the guy goes, no, that's the permanent trophy. You never get that. And they're fighting essentially in the lower classes for money as this guy has the big trophy, i.e. all the money in America, the 1%. And they'll never attain that because that's just, Trump and his asshole kids behind them going, you'll never get up here because you fight down there. And I just love that whole aspect of this movie because you really can find it all the way through this movie. The themes of racial inequality, income inequality, it all is predominantly here in a really easy to find kind of way.
It's the Lunchables version of a Spike Lee movie.
Yeah, but at the same time, I like this more than Chirac. And at the end, that has just just as big of a misogynist kind of idea behind it. As far as having a partnership between men and women, it's like I go get the money and then I come home. I give you the money and then I have sex for the money. And for Sydney, it's like I'll go get the money and I come home and you raise the kids.
Yeah, Sydney's wife, she wasn't a really fleshed out character, I feel.
I completely agree. Rosie Perez kind of was, but not really either.
She was, at least she had goals
Jeopardy?
and
The
somewhat...
goal of Jeopardy?
Well, yeah, a goal of being on Jeopardy, for sure. That's still a goal.
However, that is essentially, once again, kind of a lottery. If you're saying, that basketball is a selfish goal, then so is going on Jeopardy, right?
Oh, yes, totally.
It's ridiculous.
And so is Rosie Perez, her character Gloria, is she supposed to be a likable character in the movie?
I don't know. Her voice is pretty horrible.
It is horrible.
You look like really, really high-pitched voices, and you don't like her voice?
No, I don't like her voice. It's a little too much. It's like saying, you like hot showers, let's make it even hotter so it's scolding. That's the equivalent of Rosie Perez's voice. So.
Oh, man. Yeah, I agree. It's really hard to hear her talk. It's off-putting. But it's also hard for her to be like, Mount Vesuvius? Mount Vesuvius, and you're like Mount Vesuvius.
That was pretty funny.
And they're yeah, Jeopardy's just gonna be like, yeah, you can't pronounce it. It's okay.
So let's talk about Gloria a little bit because I have some issues with Gloria and whether or not she is likable.
Okay.
So I don't know if I don't know if this is correct, but from what I understood, she's the one that owes the Stussy brothers money. She bought the car. The car was a shit car. Mm-hmm. Billy said, don't pay them. And now they're after Billy, and they want to kill him because of it. Is that what happened?
I'm not really too sure because they don't really... That sounds right to me. However, it's really one of those things. Once again, man, white privilege. He's like, don't pay them. Nothing will happen. And the truth is, something does happen.
But still, it's not even white privilege at this point. Because she's the one that owes them money. Or at least they're all a unit.
Yeah.
If they're in a relationship, I consider that a unit.
Yeah, it's a unit. 100%.
So she gets the car. He says, oh, don't pay them. They're after him. And she just kind of dismisses that as like, oh, that's his debt that he needs to hustle for. So when he continues to gain money or lose money, she gets super pissed at him. But really, that's her debt he's trying to pay off.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're a unit, man. And he's the only one making money.
True.
And she is
the
trying.
only one making money.
But
while
she's got a plan, man.
She has a plan that
She's
involves
learning
studying
all foods that start with the letter Q.
Yeah, you're being facetious about it, but she's studying while she's drinking vodka while he's trying to hustle.
I agree. You shouldn't drink when you study.
And then towards the end, and you did all the time. And no, I'm really serious about this.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make her very likable.
No.
And at the end, she has all this kind of like can wisdom. Like sometimes when you win, you really lose and yada, yada, yada. But towards the end, she leaves him once she has her goal, when she's obtained her goal.
It's slavery, man. It's a metaphor for slavery. No, I'm just joking. Even though I think you could say that. We all did this. Well, no, you can't. It's not at all. But the whole thing is, I actually wrote down, once successful, Billy ends up alone because Gloria wins Jeopardy. They got there as a team. He pays off all the debt, and she leaves him because he won't change for her. But at the same time, it's more like she leaves him because she's going to get out of this position and maybe go on to better herself, and she doesn't see him being able to do that. But at the same time also, what a fucked up thing to do to your partner.
Yeah, if you take out all the racial connotations of it, you guys work together to do this.
Yeah.
And she's just like, oh, well, fuck you. And I know it got to the point where she was like, it was that moment with Sydney and Billy where she gave him the money. And he was like, oh, okay, just one more time. It was kind of like an addict. And she was like, that's it. I can't take it anymore. I'm out. But still, I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way. And I really didn't feel like Gloria was like, oh, she's moving on to better things. I felt bad for Billy.
Yeah, I agree. And also the fact that he got her onto Jeopardy in the first place. Even though I really doubt that you can get onto Jeopardy by making a hook shot from half court. If you can, then I can make one a week. I can make one appearance in Jeopardy a week.
Oh, I was going to say, you can make a hook shot from half court a week?
Yeah, only one. But I'd have to try like 50 times a day. But I bet you I can make one out of 50. If Sigourney Weaver could do it once backwards for that movie, I can do it.
I would like to see you try to do, because if you start to do all in a row, your arm's going to get tired.
Well, yeah, I know.
But
the next day will be stronger.
Motherfucker, I will put you on Jeopardy myself.
How?
Credit card, I don't know.
I don't think you pay to be on Jeopardy.
Hey, you're talking about white privilege right here, man. I'm white. Put me on Jeopardy. Put my boy Eddie on Jeopardy.
I can pretend I'm white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spell your name differently.
Yeah, Edward.
I was thinking about Cruz. But,
Crews. Yes. Start talking with that accent. It's Crews. I'm a New Zealander. Name's Edward Cruz. We've gone off the rails a little bit. I definitely think that a lot of things really, really make you feel sad for Billy. Which is kind of ironic because of the fact that I think he's supposed to be down on his luck, but the whole thing is that even when he's down on his luck, he's going to do better than anybody else because he is white. And I think that's shown by his little arrowhead necklace.
That was
the destruction of the Native American culture by white people is shown through the fact that he's wearing an arrowhead necklace.
Damn, I didn't even think of that. But that's really fucked up. I just assumed that came from his own wardrobe.
That was the ugliest arrowhead ever. And I remember people wearing stuff like that in the 90s. Let's talk about the 90s dress in this movie. This is fucking god awful. Even Alex Trebek looks like a chump in this movie. Fucking long ass Arsenio Hall fucking coats. Like the 90s was an atrocious time for dress.
If you're gonna get something tailored, I mean, nowadays it's not that long.
I don't
that
think
coat
that was not tailored. That was off the rack, and that was like off the rack.
they just gave it to him. Gadzooks.
Yeah, dude. I remember coats like that at Gadzooks.
Yeah, I think if he would have turned around, it would have said farts on the back of it.
I think that this movie really, really did a really good job at time capsuling the 90s. Like, I really am a strong proponent of not caring too much about written textbooks for history. If you want to know what the 60s were like, then go find a bunch of novels from the 60s and read them, because all those guys were writing in the mindset of the 60s. You know, if you want to learn about the 90s, go read a bunch of novels about the 90s, 1700s. Go read a bunch of novels written at that time. You'll learn more about history, in my opinion, than the history textbooks will tell you. It works even better if you combine the two. But a lot of people don't see that way, and it's silly. You know, just because something has like fantastical elements doesn't make it not a history book. And I really think that the same is for movies. You know, if you really want to see what the period was like, go watch certain movies. And I think this movie really encompasses the 90s really well. It's just really, really cool to see little snippets of history inside of movies, and I think this movie does a really good job of doing that.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Like, you get a sense of fashion. I really loved Wesley Snipes in those vintage. Well, now they're vintage. At the time, they were current, but cycling caps that he's wearing.
Oh, yeah.
Even his kid was wearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And those would be worth a lot of money now. And crazy spaghetti straps that go like all the way down to your belly button.
They cut them themselves, right? That
I
was
don't
like,
know.
is that,
I
that
would
how
assume so, man. I don't think that I've never seen anything cut that, even today, cut that way. I also really, really think that this movie did a good job of just being entertaining. You know, from front to back, it's an entertaining movie. You can say a lot of things about this movie not being up to par with other social commentaries in any way, shape, or form, but I was having fun all the way through.
Well, I would say let's view it more as a great sports movie. Let's put it in the same category as Mighty Ducks, The Wrestler, Rocky.
I think this movie's better than The Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
that's still an enjoyable
I think this
movie.
movie is better than Tobey Maguire.
The actor?
No, Tobey Maguire. Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire. When Renee Zellweger still looked like a human being.
I like the idea of this movie being better
about
than an
Tobey.
actor.
Yeah, I think it's better than Tobey Maguire's portrayal of Spider-Man.
I was like, I agree too.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire sucks. Except for that writing movie he did. What was it called? The Wonder Boys?
Wonder Boy with
Robert Downey Jr. and Michael Douglas.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of hate movies about writing.
Yeah, I used to love them. Now I hate them. Because thinking about writing makes me really sad and annoyed. I'm sure, Barrett, my heart goes out to you. I'm sure you feel the same way. Anyway.
So we talked about this being a movie that's definitely a period piece, and you can go back and learn stuff from this movie. So this movie was made in 1992.
Yes.
That was right after the Rodney King riots.
Yeah, the LA riots.
Yeah, LA riots. Rodney King. Sorry.
There was a Rodney King beating, and then his verdict led to the LA riots.
Yeah. Sorry. I kind of just fused them all in my brain.
It's okay.
Which is...
It's better than not knowing about him.
Yeah. So...
But hey. Racism's dead. No, I heard it on Fox News the other day. It's over.
Yeah, a white man killed it.
Yeah.
Where I was going with that was the use of guns in this movie. I thought was super interesting because, you know, the whole screenplay idea, if you pull out a gun, you have to use it. There's guns several times in this movie. They appear several times in this movie, and nothing happens. So Rosie Perez's character, Gloria, pulls a gun on Sydney, Nothing happens. There's that one game where they're all gambling.
And the guy's trying to pawn off his gun, but then he goes back and goes, I'm going to get my other gun, and all you motherfuckers are dead.
Yeah.
He did use that gun, though, just to sell it.
He used it, yeah, exactly, to sell it. And then the end with the Stussy brothers.
Stussy brothers.
Isn't that interesting? And do you think that's something that has to do with those riots and the Rodney King verdict, that they were trying to get away from violence or that type of gun violence?
I think that there were so many movies around that time period that employed guns to be a dramatic device.
Like Boys in the Hood.
Or Menace to Society. You can pick a handful of movies. Was it Zebrahead? Have you ever see that one?
No.
That's a good one.
So do you think it was like a director's choice that's like, you know what, let's go against the grain here?
I think it was just basically a movie where they were like, we're not going to make this a dramatic movie. This is going to be a comedy. This is going to end up not in a good place, because it doesn't really end up in a good place, but everybody... It ends a lot like a Shakespeare like comedy, where like everything's good except there's a character that still has to learn something, or... You know, like, not every loose end is tied, but things ended up well.
How do you feel about that as far as a movie where there's a gun, there's several guns? Do you feel they need to go off to be satisfied?
I don't think that the use of a gun has to be shot in the story as they would in Menace to Society. They're not introduced in the same way. And it's not a drama. Like, when you see a gun in Menace to Society, you go, somebody's going to die. In this movie, you see a gun, and it's almost like showing you how prevalent they are and how normal they are in this society.
And they don't matter.
And they don't matter because, truthfully speaking, they don't change anything.
See, I like the use of the gun only with that one guy who pawned it off, who originally... tried to rob the corner store, which I loved, and then he sold the gun. Other than that...
Very like Friday kind of moment.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, I didn't like Rosie Perez just randomly pulling out the gun. I don't think it added to the movie. Also, I don't think the Stussy brothers having the gun at the end, you could have done the same thing, the same effect without the gun.
Yeah. Also, these guys have been chasing them how long for $3,000? Like... You can't, I mean, I guess $3,000 in the 90s is probably worth more than now, but at the same time, you can't live off of $3,000 for very long. These guys just, follow people around for small loans. Like, that's not how that works. I think that it was trying to be, I guess, socially accurate in the sense that there was a lot of crime going on or something like that, and the whole thing with Sydney's house being robbed and whatever. Just like violence and theft being done on the poorest group by the poorest group kind of thing was. But
do you think he put that in there, or do you think we're getting this just because Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, their dynamic, it's so awesome, and you want them to get along and build each other up, even though they're constantly fighting? Do you think that's it? Do you think it was there initially?
I'm not sure, man. I think maybe happenstance made this movie a lot more culturally astute and smart than it really was on face value. Maybe the circumstances of how it was filmed or what happened during filming had something to do with that. But it came out pretty good, in my opinion. This guy has directed a bunch of other shitty movies like Bad Boys 2, but he wrote and directed this. I think this is a pretty good movie. I think that the social commentary on Black lives is a little fucked up, and it's definitely misogynistic towards women. But for a 90s flick, it definitely did a lot of good things.
I mean, the fact that we're talking about it and discussing it says something, I think.
I think so, man. I think that also has a lot to say with the fact that I watched a lot of movies I shouldn't have when I was really young. I shouldn't have watched this when I was 10.
Well, you and me both. I mean...
What do you think about, like, the fact the word Negro was used by Woody Harrelson?
I think that was really... Man, I don't even know how to describe it. So when it was used, it was when he was in the car with Gloria, Rosie Perez, and he calls Wesley Snipes a Negro. And it seems very demeaning. And I don't know why you would throw that in there, because I was thinking that Woody Harrelson's character Billy was supposed to be a likable character. But for me, when he called him that, I was like, whoa.
Well, the whole thing
was
is
that
like,
okay in the 90s?
Even a likable character can't understand the struggles of being black. Even a likable white character can't. You know what I mean? Like, even today, there are people, like, for example, Bill Maher, who thinks he can go around talking about the black experience like he knows something about it, that are white. Like, people that are white, that think they know about the black struggle, that's retarded. There's absolutely no way you can understand what it's like to be black if you're not black. You can't understand what it's like to be brown if you're not brown. You can't understand what it's like to be white even if you're white.
I think it's people trying to intellectualize and sympathize at the same time, but it doesn't work.
It comes off pretentious and shitty. You end up looking like an asshole, like what we're doing right now.
Are we looking like assholes?
I don't know. Haven't edited this yet.
No, we'll see. Just edit all the asshole out of us, unless it's funny.
Welcome to the Prose Bros podcast. White Men Can't Jump, and thank you for listening. And it's over.
So can I tell you about some of the things that I found out about this movie that I thought were particularly interesting?
Absolutely.
Maybe not super interesting.
Did you find out that white men can jump?
No, I found the opposite is true.
100%.
They lowered the hoop for Woody Harrelson to dunk. They lowered it half a foot.
Absolutely.
And Wesley Snipes did not know about that.
Oh my god, dude. He didn't know about it?
No. That they lowered it for him.
He didn't tell him?
No.
No?
No.
And then he makes a joke in the movie about Wesley Snipes raising the other hoop while he wasn't looking.
But at the same time, and this is funny as well, so they all had trainers, basketball trainers, during this movie. That's why obviously some of the scenes look pretty legit.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson was a way better basketball player than Wesley Snipes.
Really?
So I guess it's kind of like the movie, white men can't jump, but have great fundamentals.
And did they have to prove that white men can jump at the end? Was that like the end all be all? Like, no, white men can jump.
I think that was the point, right? It's like white men can't jump. It's like, no, they can.
They can. They just got to save it for the last game.
I don't know if it's racist against white people. I don't really feel...
I don't know. Is it racist? And it's weird, right? Like, I'm not sure what it's trying to say through that message. Like saying... calling it white men can't jump, and then having the white man dunk as like the last scene, kind of. What the fuck?
It's almost like white men can overcome any adversity you put, but only when you lower the bar, literally.
By a foot and a half.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, half a foot, not a foot and a half. I think I could dunk, and if they lowered it a foot and a half.
I think Wesley Snipes would have realized they moved it a foot and a half. Oh, man. Well, that was our podcast on White Men Can't Jump. Do you have anything to say, Jeffrey?
Oh, no.
No? All right, well, I don't either. Thanks for listening if you did.
Hey, I do.
Okay.
You know what are other good sports movies?
What?
It's Mighty Ducks.
Start that over again.
I don't know. Fuck it. I don't even care. I was just being stupid. I just fucking delete all this shit.